Sage X3 is a web-based platform. What this provides for is convenience in the login. So you have a single login. Sage X3 is tightly integrated with Microsoft Office and Google. So this means that the credentials are stored in those programs. The security is guaranteed. So what this does is it's a convenience. It's a single login. And with all the passwords that we have from all the software products that we use and password changes, it's a great convenience. The web-based program also allows for reference on the road or in the office at home on any browser, any device, any screen. So with that being said, let's go ahead and log in. All right. So here we are at the home screen. And this is a landing page, as we'll get to in just a couple minutes. Where I'd like to start off with is the navigation ribbon at the top. So these are settings developed by myself with common transactions and record screens that I navigate to. So you can add or remove, as we'll see in a minute. But if I click on any one of these, like if I click on products, it's going to take me straight through into the screen. So I don't need to worry about where I'm going or how to get there. And then at any point in time in Sage X3, you can navigate to the home page by clicking the Sage icon in the top left. So that's your navigation ribbon, a great convenience and time saver. Moving along to the right-hand side, this is my login. So on my personal settings, Sage X3 is a multi-jurisdiction, multilingual product. And you can see you can switch the languages here, display. You can work with a mobile homepage. And this is where you would log out. Sage X3 is a role-based login. So it's a role-based system. I'm currently logged in as a full user. If I need to switch to an administrator or super user to perform some administrative functions, I could switch, perform those functions. For example, a new user or change in security settings. And then I would switch back to the full user to review the transactions and record screens. Moving along to the right, Sage X3 is a multi-folder product that allows for the sampling and experimentation with concepts in a sandbox environment. So we would have a sandbox environment where you could see the interaction of these concepts and business processes, and then switch back to production, integrate it into production in a safe and controlled way. With any new software, you're going to need some help. So we move on to the right here with the Online Help Center. So this is a very intuitive online community. And I'll show you the ease of use right now. So starting off on the home page, you can see some recent updates and how-to guides. What's new? Some release notes and patch, if applicable. Technical help. How-to. These are walkthroughs. Commonly requested functions and problem areas. Tutorials. These are videos created against the frequently asked questions. So they walk you through and show you the solutions that are available. There's also Sage Knowledge Base, which is an online community administered by Sage professionals to ensure that the blog type of problems that are stated are answered, and there's a flow to the information. You can see in the top right here, there is a search function. So this is like a browser-like search. You can see my most recent searches at the top. If I want to go to any of these, I just enter in what I'm looking for. Hit the magnifying glass. and it takes me straight through until the results. So I can navigate with the hot link into the content that's available. And I can review many aspects of what is there. Navigating back to Sage X3, moving along to the right on the top here, you can see this is your favorites ribbon, this star. And I'll show you that right now. So if you want to hide the favorites bar or show the favorites bar, work with the bookmarks. So if I want to change this name here, I want to change it to something that's more meaningful for me. I want to remove it or add something new. I could do all that right here. Could clear all and start over again. Very easily used and custom to what your settings, you would like your settings to be. Moving along, this is a compass icon. This is your main navigation. So I use this every day. You can see here on the left-hand side at the top, these are more core functions or super user back office functions. Then you have the transactions and functional areas down in as you progress downwards. So you can collapse all, and these are the functional areas. We can open these up with the side arrow, and you can see how the arrow switches as I open it up. If I'm looking for journal entries, I'm just going to go into this area here, and this is where you would bookmark this particular transaction screen. I can just click into the journal entry screen. It'll take me straight in. This is a common transaction screen. So we close the page. Also, if I wanted to use the search, I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I could remember a little bit of the phrase of the transaction. So I would type in journal entry, and you can see I've got 3 hits here. I can navigate by hitting the down arrow, and there I am at the journal entry result from my search. You can expand all and collapse all very easily. The last one on the right is a search function. So this is a Google-like search. If we want to search for one of the products that's available, I'm going to click in oil, and it's going to take me through into the functions and data. So these are results at many levels within Sage X3. You can refine your results. If I only wanted to see the accounts, it would shrink down my results, and I could go into those areas if I wanted to refine the search. Very easily done. Navigating back to the home page. As mentioned earlier, Sage X3 is a role-based login. So you can see here a couple of them. Controller. We have Stock Manager, Planning Manager, and CFO. So starting off, let's look at Controller. So you've got some commonly used setup functions and transaction screens that controllers would typically use. So you've got some reports that you can print. These are all hot linked. A budget import, process allocations. Those are some of the examples. Journal entry screen. Moving on to the Planning Manager. You can see this business process here. This is on the business process map. So this leads you through, say you have a group of individuals within a department. This provides for a common language to discuss among the group members where you're at within the process and where a problem might be. These nodes are all hot linked, so you can go into, for example, work orders. I could just click into here. We would go straight in, and we could discuss those transactions and records. Key information. This is one of the other tabs other than business process typically available. So these are some common transactions that this function would look at. You have late work orders and late orders, for example. These are hot linked, so you can go into these transactions. And as we mentioned earlier, Sage X3 is tightly integrated with MS Office. So if I want to extract this query into Excel, I'm going to click on this action button. And I'm going to want to move it into Excel. And this is dynamic information. So I'm going to click OK. And by dynamic, it is a query type that is going to pull the most current information from Sage X3. So I'll show you how you can work with the information in just a second. It will ask me to authenticate. There's the authentication screen. Just takes a second. There it is. So we've got our single login. I authenticate. Now it is pulling the information into the query. It just takes a second. Depending on the size of the query, it could be a lot of information. Just depends on what you're working with. So it's drawing in the information now. You can see it's updating the table. And here we are. So this is the query that is available. If we want to work with this information to create a custom type of report within Excel, we can do that. When changes are made within Sage X3, this table will update. So what I want to say is we first of all work with the information that is available. So I want to delete this line. I just hit delete. But I want to see if there's any updates to this query. So I would click on the Sage function within the ribbon. I click refresh. It looks for any changes within the query. It actually queries the system, and it brings back the information that against that query. Just takes seconds. A great functionality. So let's go back to Sage X3. There are also some commonly used functions on the Planning Manager screen what they would commonly use. So material amounts, machine amounts are some examples. Now let's take a look at the CFO dashboard. On the CFO dashboard, there are common metrics and KPIs that would be available to that executive. So this aggregates the information and presents it in a chart form. So you can see here we have turnover and margin information by jurisdiction. Drill downs are available. If I want to drill down, you can see how here it says click to drill down. So I want to go into this jurisdiction and I want to look at the turnover information. Well, let's take a look at it in a different way. So in the margin information, we would want to drill down a level. We could click on the action button next to that line item. And we could be able to see those transactions that make up that particular result on the chart. These dashboards can be available on the road or away from the office on a mobile device. And that's the role-based login for Sage X3. Your landing pages can be customized. So let's take a look at the landing pages now. This is a landing page for an accounting executive or the accounting organization. Sage X3 is a multi-jurisdiction, multi-entity, multi-currency software. And this would be made for the group that you are performing the accounting for. So you can see the legislations and companies that are here. These could be catered to your organization. Sites where the inventory is stored. You could have inter-site transfers that are done very easily. You see how I can click straight into inter-site transfers. Also, intercompany transactions with the eliminations for accounting purposes. That is the UI piece for Sage X3, or user interface. Now let's take a look at the finance function. So in particular on the finance function, two commonly used reports are the trial balance and financial statements. Let's take a look at how we would draw out that information very easily with the drill downs right now. So going into financials, inquiries, and account balances. This is your trial balance. So we could switch companies. As mentioned, it is a multi-entity software. We could change the time frame, and it would produce the information with relative ease. So if we wanted to look at any of these items, say we wanted to look at inventory raw materials, what makes up that $46,000, the transactions within those aggregated amounts. So we would drill down into the account. These are the transactions within that account. We want to take a look at the lowest level or the original entry. We just click on that action button again, go into the journal, and here's your original entry. So we could see the lines of that specific entry and the debits and credits that were made. Navigating back to the trial balance, what we would do is we would close the page and close it again. And here we are at the trial balance. Next, we'll take a look at the financial statements. Moving back to the home page, we will go to reporting, financial data extraction, and inquiry. This will pull the information in a balance sheet or an income statement or profit and loss against the company that you are working with. So you can see here the profit and loss is already available. We're just going to navigate to the right here, and you can see the balance sheet is also there. So let's go there now. This is based on the way your chart of accounts is set up. So it's coded at the account level. Your cash account, if we wanted to see what was inside of this $341,000, what we would do is click into this action button right next to the dollars, and we would go detail. We want to get down to the original entry. So now we're going to go to account. We are again going to click the action button, go to that account. These are the transactions that make up that balance within that GL account. And we can get right down to the journal entry and look at the lines. Here are the lines within that entry. A great convenience when there are questions from others in the department about, or in a separate department, about what this $339,000 is. Navigating back to the financial statements, we just hit close page. And then we're back at the financial statements. This can be modified or tailored to the needs of the company. Navigating back to the home page. That is the finance part of Sage X3. On an overview, just looking at a couple of the functionalities that are available, it's very flexible and easy to use. You can extract whatever information you're looking for within a minimal time.